What is up, you guys? We're back for another video here. We'll be doing a full Street Fighter V4 oil change. This will be the first one that I've done personally. I had the break-in one done at 600 miles. Well, actually it was like 680, I think. And then this one, I believe it has about 3,800 miles on it. So let's get into it, and hopefully you guys can find this helpful. So I like using the Mo tool. I used it in my last bike. I'll use it in this one as well. This one's the 1550. And then I only go with the OEM oil filter from Ducati. So first I want to start with getting this on a stand so it's nice and level. As you can see, I don't have an official Ducati stand, but again, it's weird having a bike like this. I know it costs a lot of money. You'd think you'd spend a lot on other things, but I figure I already have this, why I might as well use it, you know? So what you can do is, what I do, is first we'll take my rear sliders off here. First we'll take these off, and then we'll get to showing you how I put this on the stand. All right, so we'll get a 13 millimeter here, put it on the one end. Ignore my kind of broken ratchet. I don't know, still kind of works. I have like 3 of these, so this is the only one that I could find. So keep getting this off. Eventually that just pulls off. Make sure to keep everything in order. There's a washer in here. And then this pulls off. And then this will just pull through the other side. Just like that. So we can put something through here to adapt to the regular stand I have. Ironically, what works best for me is just a simple jack handle. This is the top portion of my Harbor Freight jack that I have. Literally fits perfectly through here. And again, you guys laugh, but this stand was a Harbor Freight stand I used for my last umpteen bikes. So being able to use this again is, I don't know, kind of nice not to have to buy something ridiculously expensive whenever I need it, like once in a while. Maybe I'll get one eventually. Maybe I'll get one for storage, but for now, make do with what I have. Just as easy as that, see? Works pretty darn well for what it is. So now, with the bike sitting level, be sure to put this kickstand up here. Put the oil drain pan underneath. Very used oil drain pan, but that's what it's for. Now preemptively, with the sump in this bike, you would technically warm up something and then drain the oil so that it becomes more viscous. However, since this sump for some reason is designed in a way to where it takes forever to drain, I think Ducati warms it and waits like 2.5 hours or something. I'm really not in the mood to wait that long. Plus, this is a 4,000 mile oil change. They say every 7,500, so I don't need to get every little drop of the old oil out. So what I'm gonna do is, this has been sitting for probably about 2 weeks now. So it's had plenty of time for the oil to drain out of the passages. And yes, while it is cold, it'll be able to at least have as much as the sump is gonna allow into the pan. And then when I refill, I'll start it, do all that, wait, and then make sure everything's good. So let's get into it. We'll start with the drain plug. All right, you'll see here, we'll want to take out this oil fill plug here real quick. Set that somewhere where you don't get anything on it. Now that that's open, we'll get onto the drain plug here, which as you can see is a 14 mil. Put the wrench on. Give it a good loosen. And now it should just thread off. Now we will want some sort of way to deflect this. I feel like it's gonna go all over this exhaust. So, okay, that's not smart. So that's not smart the way they did that at all, because it goes right into the exhaust shroud. So that's cool. Again, this is my first time doing it, so that's super fun. Oh, it's kind of blocked off there. That's not too bad. It's still really, really annoying. Wow, that is stupid. Okay, well, it's Italian though, so what can you expect? There goes all the oil. Looked okay, I guess. Now I gotta find my drain plug though. Thank God I have a handy dandy magnet to help me out here, because otherwise I'll be fishing for a while. while we're letting that drain, I'm just gonna fish around here. Oop, I think I found it. It's on the other side of the cloth here. There she is. Sweet. You can see here, there's really not too bad of filings on here. I've seen really bad cases where there's huge ones, but this one's actually not too bad. So we'll wipe that off, make sure there's no crap on it here. Then what you want to do is replace the crush washer on here with the new one that comes in the kit. I just bought this off Amazon, but it's a full Ducati Street Fighter V4 kit, and it actually includes the crush washer and everything, so super handy. Look at that. There's the crush washer. Pop that on here. Perfect. So now that's ready to go back on whenever we're done. Next step is going to be getting the oil sump off and the oil sump guard to get the filter. So we'll do that next here. All right, sorry my GoPro kind of crapped out on me, so we're actually going to start using the mic included on the GoPro, so forgive the sound quality difference, but you're going to then take off the sump guard bolts with a 5mm Allen. However, with mine, I have the Evotech sump guard, so they do have different bolts. I'm pretty sure those are still the same. The OEM is still a 5, but your mileage may vary. So let's get that done here. Here on the other side, can't really see it well, but all right. And then this is the last sump bolt, so I'll get that undone here. Got the bolt. Not gonna touch it very gently. Then the sump should just pull off. Maybe it should just be 3 bolts. I don't know why it's really on there. There it goes. Okay, so that just pulls off. Now you're left with the normal sump, which if you buy the M8 by 1.25 and then by 45, or I have 40 over here because they were out of the 45, but as long as you have 3 of those, you can thread it into there and actually pull the oil filter out that way. It's way easier than trying to pry it, so I'll show you that as well. Once you thread them in, then you just start working them, and you can see the gap on the oil filter housing. Now I had to use a wrench for this, so oil's probably going to go everywhere, but you just want to crank it kind of evenly on all the corners so that it pulls it out nice and even. Then you give it a little tug. There it goes. Let that drain, and then we'll work on pulling the oil filter out. All right, just realized I had gloves, so this will be a little better now. Wasn't able to grip stuff real well, so now we're gonna get to taking the actual filter out. All right, so I got it, but I had to use 2 hands to be able to get it pried, and I had to sacrifice my oil pan, but that just pulls out, so. All right, now on the housing, there's 2 O-rings as well. Now that also comes with the kit here that they send you for the oil filter, as you can see here. So we'll get to prying these off with a pick real quick. Just pull it off. There's one. Sorry if it's not in focus, I just can't do this easily one-handed. All right, so there's 2. So now those are both off, we'll put the new ones on. Side note, when we put the new ones on, I like to rub a little bit of oil around them. It can be the used oil, that's fine, just to make sure they can lubricate in order to go back into the housing. So there's the 2 new O-rings installed onto the housing. And now we'll put the new filter in and then plop this back in. All right, here's the new oil filter. And this will just slide up in where the old one was. It's gonna drip a little bit because I gotta do it, but here. And then it just seats in there. And then you have to orient this the correct way. The 2 that are closer together go toward the back, like this. And this should slide right up in here, like this. And we can use the bolts to draw it in because it is pretty hard to get these O-rings in there. All right, this is my first time doing it, so I'm learning as I go, but I learned that I can put these in and draw it up in with the stock. Well, these aren't the stock bolts. These are a little longer than stock, but so I put the bolts for the Evotech sump guard in here to be able to draw this thing up and in more evenly, because it is difficult for this to pull in. Same as when you're backing it out, just make sure these are all even as you're pulling it in, and it should go in pretty nicely. All right, if you guys are like me and have a sump guard, these bolts are a little longer than they're supposed to be, so don't try driving these too far in. So this, you'll have still a little gap here, but that's good enough. I can back these out, and then I'll put the sump guard on and then tighten everything back up. All right, so I installed the sump guard back on, and all I'm doing is tightening these bolts up, and you can see there's still a little gap on the back here, but as I'm drawing these in, it'll close that up. See? Again, make sure you're doing it evenly. You need to look at the spec for these. For me, I kind of have that calibrated elbow. You know, you're tightening into aluminum, so obviously be careful. But don't go too light, because you don't want these things falling out, that's for sure. That's all in. Now all we have to do is the drain plug and then fill it up. Again, make sure the drain plug is clear of debris, as you can see here. And then we'll put that right back in where it was supposed to go. If it wants to go. I don't know why it's not wanting to go. This is annoying. Oh my god. Everything with this bike is so annoying. And again, just give it a snug up with a 14 mil wrench. Nothing too crazy, but enough to crush that crush washer. Make sure it's not gonna come out. All right, let's fill it up. All right, so let's get ready to fill it. I just have this funnel here. Just make sure the funnel's clean. Put that in the fill hole here, and then we'll open up our mow tool. It's always so satisfying. Look at it. It's like green. All right, and then this should take about 3 quarts of this. And this is a 1 gallon container, 4 liters. So let's start pouring. That was barely anything. See how this is going. You always want to monitor the sight glass on the other side just to see if everything's correct here. Nothing yet on the sight glass. I've not run a mow tool in this bike yet, so I'm very excited to see see if there's any difference. It is not. Just barely on the sight glass at the bottom here. But you have to remember, we're gonna fill this to where the sight glass is full, run it, and then let it sit for a while to see where it really sits, because it has to pump all of this oil around the engine first, then sit back down again. So it all depends on how much that takes, and we need to get an accurate reading on that. So, aha, there it is. As you can see, that's pretty much right at the max mark. So now we'll just start it, get it to run, and then see where it sits. So now I put the oil cap back on, and we're just going to start it real quick just to get the oil through all the systems that we need, and then recheck. So now we wait for the oil to settle back out of every crevice that we can and see where the oil level is. All right, guys, waited about 2 hours. I did a wash on the bike, so we're gonna check the oil, see if it's any good. I doubt it, but we're gonna just tilt it up here, get it nice and level. As you can see, we need to add some oil, so I'll do that and then we'll come back and check. As you can see here, I have about 1 pint left, and if I can get this up right here with one hand, you can see the level here is pretty much spot on. All right, so that pretty much sums up our oil change on my 2021 Ducati Street Fighter V4. Be sure to tune in next week for a formal review of my ownership of this bike over the last summer. See you guys in the next one.